Welcome back to my channel. This week I wanted to talk about something that is very relevant right now in terms of my own life. I have mock exams coming up next week, so by the time you're watching this I'll be revising for mocks like the next day, and I just thought, you know, like, let's do something that's kind of themed. Let's do something that's going to help with these times. The last video I did was very books to read and getting all excited about the new year, and this is about practically, if you're someone who's still in school, if you go to college or university or wherever you are, these tips are going to definitely help you to become more efficient with your studying. We're constantly being tested in some way. We have exams and tests and assessments all the time, so it's important to find ways of making sure that our studying doesn't feel like it's too much or overwhelming, but is actually productive. The idea is to study smart, not to study hard. Studying hard is studying, it's not efficient. You might be able to do well with 10 hours of studying a week, but for me personally, I've found methods of just being able to do 1 to 2 hours of studying a day with like 2 rest days a week and be able to feel ahead of the game or just on top of my work, never ever falling behind in any way. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. It's about studying smart rather than studying hard, because there's a massive difference. Studying smart means that you're productive, it's efficient, and you know what, it can also be a little bit fun. It can be a little bit fun. So I hope that these tips to help you today to make your studying a little bit more productive for you. So let's get started. So tip number 1 is to set timers. I don't remember exactly where I got this tip from, but I went through a phase where I was really struggling to know what to do with my studying, and I watched loads of videos on how to be better and more productive at studying, and I found that most people suggested that setting timers is super efficient. When I started doing it, I noticed that my work was just like 10 times more of an amazing experience. So you want to do 20 to 25 minutes, or depending on how long you've really got, and you just need to make sure that you're having breaks in between this set of work. Set your timer for 25 minutes, do 25 minutes of solid work, don't stop, get to the end of that, and then after it's finished, as soon as it's done, you might want to finish a sentence depending on what you're doing, and then you make sure you have a 5 or 10 minute break in which you could do something like reading a book or having a snack or having a chat with your friends, because if you're anything like me, I really struggle to study when I'm around my friends, but when you go to school and you have free periods, you have to, and it's so difficult. So this is something that I've found really works for me. Put my headphones in and just sign off for 25 minutes, and then you can come back and get back into a conversation. So really works. We are human beings, we like to have small wins, so when you have that 25 minutes and you get that 25 minutes of work done, you feel more motivated to come back for another 25 minutes because you're like, I achieved something. So it's just a genuinely good way to get things done. This is my second tip, and that is to have a study playlist. Have a go-to studying playlist, something that you can just be like, this is my playlist. It's nice, it's aesthetically pleasing. It could be instrumental music, it could be lo-fi, hip-hop, it could be songs in a different language. But just make sure that you're listening to something that makes you feel a little bit more light-hearted. You don't want anything that's too energetic because you do want to be able to focus. But I genuinely find that when I'm studying, when I'm trying to work, having music on in the background just makes me feel so much more relaxed, and can even make it feel a little bit fun sometimes. It doesn't have to be so strenuous all the time. We can have fun whilst we work. You just shouldn't really get involved in conversations because you'll lose track of time, but listening to music whilst you work is a really good way of just putting a bit of balance into your study sessions. My third tip, make yourself a study space. So when you're studying, you don't want to be constantly going from place to place. You want to have one particular area where you go, and that's your space, that's where you go to do your work. And sometimes I find that when I'm working in school, I find it really difficult to concentrate, but when I go to my study space, I feel so much more able, because I have everything around me that is designed to make it a better process. So you want to have things like blankets and warmth, you want food and inspirational quotes and schedules and pens and stationery and candles and flowers and things that will just make it feel like somewhere where you would be happy to spend a bit of time. I genuinely find that just feeling cozy whilst I work helps me a lot, and feeling like I'm surrounded by inspirational things helps me a lot as well. This can be absolutely anywhere, but you just need to make sure that there are no distractions at all, or if you can just like limit the distractions that you have, which kind of leads me on to my next tip, which is turn your notifications off on your phone. Don't leave anything on, because if you do, you're going to get distracted. When I'm studying my friends, I see them constantly checking their phone to see if they've got any messages, and I've never really struggled with it too much, but I know that it's a challenge and it can be a challenge sometimes. So just turn your notifications off on all your apps, because that can help with other things anyway, not just studying. But if you struggle with that, then maybe just turn your phone off altogether, or put it somewhere on the other side of the room where you won't be able to see it, and definitely turn it on silent. I think this is a pretty easy tip and it's a no-brainer really, but it's important to mention it because I think it's a fundamental reason why we get distracted when we're trying to work. Because when we're working, it doesn't matter how much you enjoy school or work or whatever it is you're trying to do, you're going to enjoy any distraction so much more. So if you can remove those distractions from your vicinity, then you're likely to get those 25 minutes of work done, and it will be all good. My final tip for today is to make sure that every time you go to study, set yourself a study goal. So this can be something that's really simple, like I'm going to revise 1 hour's worth of my biology textbook. It could be specific, like I'm going to highlight 10 pages of my English lit book. The more specific you are, the better, because you're going to be able to look at it and be like, that's what I've got to do today. Nothing else really matters. You can put everything else aside, because this is something that's going to help you with overwhelm. Overwhelm is something that catches up to us all eventually when we start trying to work harder, and I'm trying to help you to work smarter. So in order to avoid overwhelm, try to set study goals for yourself and don't be too ambitious with them. Just remember that it's better to overachieve than underachieve. So if you set yourself a target that is too ambitious and you end up not hitting that target, you're going to feel rubbish about yourself, as opposed to if you end up overachieving because you said something that's a little bit less challenging, if that makes sense. Just remember to stay calm and happy. Take a break if you start to feel anxious or stressed or tired or bored or just negative in any way. That's why we start to feel overwhelmed. That's why we stop working smart. It can be really challenging trying to bring these tips into our lives, but it's so important, because it's just work. It's not important at all, even though it kind of is, but it's not more important than your health. So I hope that these tips help you not just to study smarter, but to also feel a little bit more comfortable when you are studying, because it's just part of life. So you might as well find ways to make it more fun and more productive. I am wishing you the best week of healthy, happy study sessions. I love you lots and lots. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and leave me a comment on what you thought of the video, and if you have any suggestions on how I and anyone else out there can study a little bit more smartly, maybe that's a word. And until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye.